Hi everyone, I'm Margot Freitag and I am here to talk to you today about protein supplements, specifically protein powders. So one of the questions that I often get is it okay to be consuming protein powders? And if so, or protein supplements, if so, which ones are the safest or the best? And this also goes for children. People ask me if they could be giving their children protein powders and protein supplements. So I just wanted to address this today. I want to talk to you a little bit about protein supplements, what to look for, what to be concerned about, and what you really should be doing. And you might even already kind of know. So first, I'm just going to share a little bit about protein supplements in general, what these protein powders are, what protein isolates are, the different kinds, what you should be looking for, and really what you should be doing instead. So this shouldn't take too long, and I hope you find it really helpful. First of all, protein powder or protein supplements usually come in the form of powders. And what they actually are processed food. I mean, really, really processed food. What they do is they take the whole food and they strip all the parts of the food away. In the case of plants, they take all the parts of the plant away and leave you just with the protein. And the same with the animal-based or cow-based, cow milk-based proteins. They take all of the parts of the food away and just leave you with the protein, and then that's what you are given. So essentially, protein supplements are concentrated proteins, and that's why they refer to them as protein isolates. And you probably have seen this on labeling. So what's the problem with that? Well, they're processed food because they've taken away all of the other parts of the food and left you just with the protein. But also, it's really important to know that you don't just get the protein. You also get a lot of other things like stabilizers and fillers and artificial color and artificial flavor, binders, and all of these different additives and preservatives that keep the product shelf stable until you purchase it. So what happens when we consume these protein isolates? Well, you get a really a whopping dose of protein. There's no question about it. And high levels of protein, especially animal protein, are linked to bone loss, damaged arteries, kidney and liver damage, and also kidney stones. You might have heard of this with the ketogenic diet. People who eat high protein diets they're more at risk for kidney stones and kidney damage. And the same is true for consuming isolated proteins. Whey is linked to increased anger, and casein is linked to increased tumor growth. The next really interesting thing is soy. Soy protein isolate. You'll see this not only in protein supplements, but you'll also see it in a lot of the veggie products. The really interesting thing here with soy is that in soy, first generation soy products that are non-GMO, organic, and in their whole food form are actually health promoting. In fact, they have been known to be protective against breast cancer and other hormone related cancers. They offset the negative side effects of menopause. And the longest living and the healthiest women on planet Earth eat the most amount of soy. So what happens when we isolate the soy, when we take away all of the fiber and all of the other aspects of the plant, and we're just left with the soy protein isolate? Well, then we get some problems. It turns out that isolated soy increases levels of IGF-1 in circulation. So IGF-1 is also known as insulin-like growth factor. It helps things to grow, like muscle. And this happens in the dairy isolates as well. And it turns out that tumors, cancers have IGF-1 receptors covering their surface. So it's a good idea to stay away from soy protein isolate in the form of a protein powder that you might be taking every day. If you're just taking, having a veggie burger once in a while, that's not a problem. It's when you're taking high concentrations of these things and having them on a regular basis, that's when you need to be a little bit more careful. So the other protein isolate that we see kind of frequently now is pea protein. And it seems that the pea protein is a little less nefarious. There are fewer issues with it. But I think kind of in the same line as the sprouted proteins. So more and more now we see sprouted protein powders. And these tend to be more of a whole food protein powder, which can be a better thing. So they haven't stripped away all of the ingredients. And often in some of these really high-end ones, the only added ingredient is stevia for a little sweetness. So if you're going to take any of these protein supplements, I would stick to sprouted grain or sprouted versions of proteins. The pea protein would be the next. And after that, I would just say no. But if you're looking for an even better bang for your buck, I have you covered. What you really should be doing is getting protein in its whole food form. That means you are looking for nutrient density instead of just protein. So it's a good idea to start asking yourself, is this nutrient dense instead of, does this have a lot of protein? Because it's all of the nutrition. If you're concerned about your protein levels, you're probably concerned with your nutrition levels in general. And the same goes for your kids, right? So it's a good idea to think which foods are nutrient dense, not just which foods have more protein. So when you get your protein sources in the form of nutrient dense whole foods, you get an array of nutrition, not just protein. You get an abundance of other things that you want in a diet too, like fiber and phytonutrients like lignans and isoflavones. You get omega-3s, vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and all of the other things that you could possibly want in a nutrient-dense food. So instead of protein supplements, try things like ground flax or ground chia. Here's my ground flax, and here's my ground chia. And why I say ground, it turns out that some of these seeds are so tiny that if you just consume them in their whole food form, sometimes they can go right through you. And so there's evidence that if you grind these things up, then the bioavailability is greater. So you get more nutritional value if you consume these things in their ground form. Now, you can get the whole seeds and grind them yourself. Some people use like a little coffee bean grinder or a little unit like a magic bullet or a blender. But you can just buy these things ground already. The thing is that you should be concerned about, though, is that they can turn rancid more quickly if they are pre-ground and they're in your home. So the very simple solution to that is just to keep these things in your freezer. All right, another of my favorite are hemp hearts. I also keep my hemp hearts in my freezer, but you really don't need to. Hemp hearts are a fantastic source of protein and just abundant in other nutrients. So super healthy for you, lots of great qualities to hemp hearts, super tasty, pop them in your smoothies, on your oatmeal, all of these things, just anywhere. The other thing you can do is get yourself a little sprouting jar or just a mason jar and some cheesecloth to put over top and start sprouting and put sprouts on everything and in everything, and just even munch on them by themselves. Super excellent way to get protein and other nutrients, because once you sprout the seed, the nutrients become more bioavailable. All right, last but not least, this is just an example. I have pepitas here, pumpkin seeds, but you can choose any seed that you like, any nut or seed, butter. Nuts and seeds are fantastic sources of protein, as well as an array of vitamins and minerals and phytonutrients and healthy fats, and all of the things that we want in a good, healthy diet. So this just gives you a great example of ways to incorporate more whole plant foods, nutrient-rich, protein-rich foods into your diet. And these are much better choices than consuming isolated proteins that really have more negative qualities than positive. So yeah, stick to whole foods. Always stick to whole plant foods. Think to yourself, is this nutrient dense? Rather than thinking, is this a lot of protein? Because if you need protein, you probably need more nutrition in general. So, is this nutrient dense? Nutrient density over protein rich. I hope that helps.